sure. But the Delanos made their fortune transporting opium for the British into China. Did you know that? That's right. The Delano family, you check it out, were big in the transportation of opium to China. You say, well, what does that have to do with the price of beans? It has a lot to do with the kind of president that FDR was. He was the first of the Bolsheviks in American presidential sequence. But let's put past history aside. All right, so the Chinese are imprisoned, or enslaved, rather, through their drug addiction by the English, who dumped opium on them. And how did the Chinese people break the yoke of English domination and of opium addiction? There was an event called the Boxer Rebellion. I can't give you the exact year. I recall it was in 1908 to 1913, in that era. Beowulf, please look it up. My memory is often off on dates, but it's in that period. There was a Boxer Rebellion, and I believe it was a large group, rather, of nationalist Chinese who were all martial artists who kicked the verminous Brits out of China. They got rid of them. They burned the opium, and they started to kill the drug dealers. And they took China back from the imprisonment of drugs. Interesting little story. You say, well, what does it have to do with town hall meetings? Well, nothing and everything. But right now, I think what you're seeing at the violence, with the violence at the town hall meetings, you are seeing average Americans standing up. And then what's shocking, it was earlier than that, Boxer Rebellion, 1898 to 1901. Okay, I was off by 8 years, 7 years at the earliest. You've got Nancy Pelosi saying that they brought swastikas to the meeting. Nancy Pelosi is probably the loopiest person in the history of the American government. Not only does she look crazy, not only does she talk crazy, but she acts crazy, and she acts like a mini dictator. Oh, I love what they said. Women were going to bring compassion to the American government. Yeah, Barbara Boxer, Barbara Mikulski, Dianne Feinstein brought tremendous kindness and maternalism to the American political machine. Yeah, the year of the woman, 1994. They really revolutionized the political structure when the women entered Congress and the Senate. Wow, did we get a better country, didn't we? Just take a look at Boxer, Feinstein, Mikulski, and the other women, and tell me they brought beautiful civility to the government. Unbelievable to me. So you got Pelosi up there saying that the protesters are dressed a little too well for her. They must be plants of the insurance industry. It's unbelievable to me when you had the Democrats using Black Panthers with clubs during the election. You had the Democrats using acorn thugs, ginning up fake votes across America. So they were actually intimidating and stealing the election, as they have done in Chicago since time immemorial. So we are now in the grips of something you never thought you'd see in America. Now, I got to tell you something. There was a book written years ago, which I've referred to on the Savage Nation, entitled It Can't Happen Here. And I read it once, remember? It Can't Happen Here, about the takeover of the government by a small group of right-wingers, what would happen in America. Unfortunately, what's happened is a small group of left-wingers have taken over America, and they meet the prediction of the author of that book, It Can't Happen Here, almost to a T. And I'll read that to you in maybe 15 minutes. Let's go to the callers on the Savage Nation. Austin, Texas. Matt, go ahead, please.
Just wanted to tell you that in the Bible, it actually says that God will speak to you during your dreams. And so if you want to start writing those down, I think that'll help you out a lot.
Start writing what down?
Start writing your dreams down. You got a dream or anything like that?
No, I don't write them down. I talk them out. I talk them out on the radio show if I think that they're of any interest to the audience. I mean, that dream doesn't require much interpretation, you know. There was a direct discussion somewhere inside my soul
but he will do that.
With God.
He will do that.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much. It is the Savage Nation, 1-800-449-8255. Joshua, it's written, and the sun stood still and the moon stayed until the nation had avenged themselves of their enemies. And the sun stood still and the moon stayed until the nation had avenged themselves of their enemies. Then spoke Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou, moon, in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still and the moon stayed until the nation had avenged themselves of their enemies. That's what the Bible said. But that was then, and this is now. You're listening to the Savage Nation, 1-800-449-8255. Let's go to Los Angeles, KGIL country. Chris, you're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Dr. Savage. I love that Jaguar story you told about your friend's Jaguar when you were young. But nowadays, I think if that were to happen today, you probably would have sued your friend, right, for because the rearview mirror was too small or something?
No, he would have sued me for breaking his car in half. But we didn't do that with each other then. Things happened and we understood it. That was the last thing we would have done was sued each other in those days. Nobody thought that way.
Right, of course. Hey, listen, what I want to talk about was liberalism, and I love the book you wrote, Liberalism as a Mental Disorder. But when do you think my books will be burned by the Obama administration? What year do you think it will be before my books are banned in America and burned in a pyre by Nancy Pelosi? It's like the book 1984, right?
Yeah. Oh, many books have been written about that. One of the best books on the subject is Fahrenheit. Was it Fahrenheit 450? What's the 451? It's the temperature at which paper burns. Fahrenheit 451, a stupendous book, turned into a pretty amazing movie years ago. Anthony Burgess wrote it. And I have no doubt that my books will be banned by the Obamaites if they're not stopped. I don't mean today, I don't mean tomorrow. It will happen that books such as Liberalism as a Mental Disorder will be banned in England and in the United States of America because they so aptly describe the disease of those who have hijacked this fabulous Constitution that we inherited. So what's on your mind other than all of this, Chris?
Well, what I wanted to say was when liberals are on television or on the radio, they will not admit the truth. They will skirt around it. But if you
wait a minute, hold on. That's not limited. You mean when politicians of any type are on the media, they generally don't tell you anything, right?
Okay, that's true. But my main point is if you can get a liberal in private, and the reason I'm bringing it up, I have a family member who shall remain nameless that I've had a few discussions with it on, and they openly admit when you talk about different topics, if you're talking about foreign policy, they will admit to you America is a bad country, it's an evil country, we've done all these terrible things. If you're talking about affirmative action, they openly admit that blacks and Latinos need affirmative action because they are not as intelligent as...
So you have suicidal relatives, in other words. You have suicidal relatives who may as well immolate themselves right now for the guilt that they carry. You know, I watched a show the other night that I had to turn off on National Geographic about Hispanic gangs in Nashville, Tennessee. It got me so angry to see them boasting about how stupid the police are, saying the police suspect but they can't catch us because of the laws in this country, dealing drugs, murdering people and getting away with it. And then you see the cops who are brave enough to strap on a vest every day and go out and try to clean the trash off the streets. And they are undermanned, undergunned in this country, and then you got the liberals undermining the cops on top of it all. How can a country survive when you have everything so upside down? How can you let gangbangers like that proliferate through America and tell the police that they're evil? How is that possible? By the way, Chris, are you still with me, Chris?
I'm here.
Okay, let me ask you something. Next time one of these mentally ill relatives say that to you, give them a quick short answer test. Just say to them, okay, let me ask you a question. You're walking down a dark street in Los Angeles at night and you're alone. And you don't have you have only a cell phone. And across the street are three people who look dangerous. Let's put it to you that way. And they start to walk across the street at you. You have only a minute to make a phone call. Ask them if they would call 911 for a cop or ACLU. Ask them which number they'd call.
Yeah, exactly.
All right? No, ask them. Ask them what number they'd call, 911 or ACLU. You think Marvin from the ACLU will come out and help them? You think Marvin will run out from behind his law books and help them? Have a nice day. I'll be back.
Eloquent in their own way.
Armstrong and Getty. Weekday morning 6 to 10. Talk 910 KNEW.
Communist and Savage Nation. So we're in the throes of a early communist revolution in America. Make no mistake about it. Look at Obama's history. The most radical leftist senator when he was a senator. Then he becomes president. There are questions about where he was born, whether he's an American citizen, as you well know. They're not being answered. Putting that aside for the moment, he is surrounded by a school of thuggery from Chicago that is obvious to anyone who has studied the issue. We have people doing things that have not been done in America, maybe in 100 years. For example, remember the White House posted a blog on Tuesday that asks supporters to email any fishy information seen on the web or received electronically? Fishy information, so they want to keep an enemies list. They want their supporters to become snitches when they see any so-called fishy information about the health care debate. But this is illegal.